Welcome back, guys, to another video here at the Carsupkeep in Bedford, and today we are doing a Vauxhall wet belt. Again, this engine is the same as the 1.2 that comes out on the Peugeots, the Citroens, Stellantis, the group that just bought all these brands, are now fitting this 1.2 PureTech into all their models. Now, the thing is, in 2023, they've actually changed back into chain, so I believe that they actually realized how much a mistake that wet belt it was. So, until the 2023 model, they used to come out with a wet belt. Now, that wet belt, what exactly it is? Well, that wet belt is exactly like a timing belt, like you used to have on the old days, but now is run inside of the oil, and that's the reason why that belt degrades, and that's why that belt gets corroded, because oil is corrosive, so if you don't use the correct spec of oil, most likely you're going to get your belt degraded way too early. This case is a Vauxhall Grandland. It is 30 odd miles. So let's have a look at this one and let's see how this job goes. Let's open the bonnet of this Vauxhall Grandland and have a look. What engine? Right, this engine that you're looking at right now, this is the 1.2 PureTech. This engine now, there's two variants of that engine. So this is the turboed version, so there's an actual turbocharger on there, and that does actually change things to us in terms of like doing the belt, because on the turbocharger engines you do get a bit quicker turnaround time to be able to do them, because on the non-turbo ones you have to take the intake manifold that just folds around the back of the engine, where on the turbo one you don't have to actually take anything like to the intake manifold or anything like that. It's just pretty straightforward. Here on the top is very quick, and I'll show you that right now. Here we have. Now we are ready to start working on it. So let's start with coils. So let's then have a look at this belt here. It doesn't look very bad condition at all, but at 30-something thousand miles, if you are doing the oil at the correct specification of oil, changing the oil, then you won't have any type of issues at all. They should last longer than that. It's just when people use the incorrect oil, that's where they get deteriorated. Still, let's have a look here. On this belt, you can still see the writing on there, and even with this light here, you can barely see anything. If like on the naked eye, if you look at it, the camera doesn't really transpire that, but if you look on naked eye, you can start to see some small micro cracks. Like I can see them all kind of coming back there. I'm not sure if that comes across in the camera. Once I get the belt out and give it a little squeeze, you'll be able to see where all the cracks are. But overall, this condition on this belt is really good. It's very hardly we see them coming in like that. But again, it's kind of like just doing maintenance, just to prevent. On the Peugeots, like I keep saying over and over again, you actually can inspect it through the oil filler cap. So if you open your oil filler cap, you can just have a look at it and see how the condition of the belt is. The Fords, on the other hand, they haven't made any inspection sports, so you can't really inspect your belt unless you start stripping, the whole rocker cover. And the rocker cover on the Fords are not as easy as these, because you do have to remove the fuel rail, the direct injection injectors, the whole coil pack is a lot more labor intensive than it is on the Peugeots. So to remove that cover just to have a look at it, I mean, still is cheaper than doing the belt, but at that point, if you're going to open it and just for the peace of mind, I do recommend that it's better just to go ahead, and if you have no history of it being changed and you are getting close to like 80-90,000 miles, then at that point you're just risking it. So I'd probably say that it would be better to just get it changed anyway. On Peugeots, yeah, you can inspect it, so you can always have a look at it. You can also just change it for peace of mind. If you had the car for 4 or 5 years, you have no recollection of doing it, then also it's not just miles, is age, because what you're looking for is degradation of the belt. So even if the belt is just sat there, it's still degrading. It's nothing to do with the fact of like wearing out by running. Is more because it starts, you know, getting older, starts drying out, cracking, and that's what causes the issues in the wet belts. So let's get this belt out and I'll show you how the condition of the belt actually is when I squeeze it. Okay, the car is up now. What I'll do is I'll get some cardboard to put underneath to try to keep the floor nice and clean, and also makes life a bit easier when it comes to cleaning the floor after. So we are due a paint on this floor for sure. The paint just didn't last anything, so we're probably looking into something like an epoxy paint or something, because this polyurethane paint's just, I don't know, maybe we've done something wrong, you know what I mean, we're not painters, but we just roll it on, and then, you know, within like a month or so, it just started peeling, just started lifting off the floor. So if you do work with that type of trade, just let us know down in the comments what we've done wrong, because it's only on the high, like heavy work areas, so you know where the engine bays are, like paint is just peeling off. So I guess just the paint is not strong enough, or maybe we had to just like peel everything off and put like a primer. Again, I ain't a painter, so I have no clue. But if you are, let us know down below. As expected, this car, you know, looks brand new underneath. Filters changed with Stellantis PSA, just call it a Peugeot, group stamp on it. So, you know, it's been done either at the main dealer or on a garage that was using original parts, so they most likely been getting, you know, the correct spec oil, and that is, I keep saying it over and over again, that is the main thing that, you know, makes the lifetime of that belt actually do what the manufacturer says it does. I've not seen a Ford do it all the way up to 150,000 miles like Ford does, but we've seen them come in with 90,000 and the belt's in good condition. And we've seen other ones coming at 20,000, 30,000 and the belt is completely gone. So I believe that is really down to the right specification of oil. I know a lot of mechanics out there just start, you know, faffing around saying that it just, you know, they're not good and why they done this and that. They had their reasons to do it. It didn't work out. I'm pretty sure all the mechanics out there have done something that they're not that proud of. But if you don't use the correct oil, you then, you know, just boycotting whatever they try to do, because what they try to do is run a belt on the oil to be more silent, to be more fuel efficient. And if you then go and put a corrosive oil that is just going to destroy the belt, then you can't blame that on design. It's not a design flaw. Now, not saying that design is great. No, it's not. It's not going to work as good as the old belts used to do, or the timing chains. Nowhere near it. But if you neglect the service on it, then you can't blame. You can't be talking bad about a design if you don't know how to maintain them, and that's the thing. Like that's number one. Some more tips with these filters: if someone is doing servicing at home, again, you're free to do whatever you want. There is tips and tricks, and there's reasons why mechanics should do mechanic work and then other people should do other things. If you feel you're capable to do services in your own, you should do that. Absolutely fine. I have no issues with that. Just there is some things that you need to look after. One of them is, I've seen too many people do this. These filters, they're meant to be hand tied. So the procedure how to do this is, you get the new filter, you then dip your finger into a little bit of oil, engine oil, and then you go around the seal at the top. And the reason is, so you don't want that seal to grip into the block, and then as you're tidying, you know, slice it, cut it. You know, there's a lot of things that can happen because of that seal being dry. You're gonna have a wrong torque because you're meant to hand tie it, but if you have no oil on that seal, it's gonna be much harder because of the resistance of, you know, the grip of the seal. So remember, a little bit of oil, dab around it, and then hand tie it. Do not put a tool on this to try to tie it back, because it ties itself over time. And then when you're going to get the next one out, you're gonna have a lot of fun. That's all I can tell you. Now, the removal of the sump is actually something that is the most important part It's raining oil on top of me, I don't know why. That is the most important part of this job, because what causes more issues on this engine is because all that debris from the belt is going to end up on the oil pickup, it's going to end up on the oil filters. We've seen them multiple times where it fills up the mesh so much that it just creates so much suction that the pump sucks in that mesh, that metal mesh filter into the pump, allowing all that belt debris to go inside. You're going to catch it all in the oil filter, camshafts. You're just going to have a massive wear on all the components on the engine. So the main thing is that someone opens this and cleans it. Now, doesn't mean, because these cars, they tend to have oil pressure issues. As you start to get too much debris on the oil pickup, that oil can't pass through the pickup, and then you start to have oil pressure issues. It doesn't mean you're gonna open this, clean that, put the sump back together, and you're all good to go. That, I've seen that tons and tons of times. That's just a big no-no. You don't do that. If there's debris there, that debris came from somewhere. That debris came from the belt. So if you don't address the belt, just address the debris, that belt will snap. And then, end of the story. That's where I'm gonna leave it. All right, now I'm putting already the sump. I had Emiliano come over, and I didn't record for you guys the cleaning the sump, and I'm pretty sure I showed you the mesh and all of that. But yeah, no debris at all on that pickup. Everything was nice and clean, and that's what we realistically like to see, because, you know, was done before we started to cause any oil starvation or any oil issues for that matter. So yeah, it might look like, you know, was done too early, but it's actually not that bad that you do the belt before it even starts fraying apart and all of that, because it kind of like saves you, saves the engine from running under those circumstances. Now, why did I do the sump first? The reason why I do the sump first is just for time management, because I'm gonna reseal the sump with silicone, with sealant. So if I leave that for last, by the time I get to, put the oil, you're talking about 5 minutes, not even that. I'm gonna put the sump back as the last thing. I'm gonna put the shield underneath, drop the car down and put the oil, and that silicone ain't gonna be dry. That's just not gonna happen. Now, because I've done the sump first, that silicone there is already drying. So I'm gonna do the belt now, timing tool, set up everything, do the belt, change the belt, put everything back. By the time I'm gonna put the oil, is most likely 1 hour gone by. Is it fully cured, the silicone, within 1 hour? Not really. But will be cured enough, so the outer layer of the silicone will be, hardened enough. I'm not applying any pressures on it. I'm just, the outer layer of the silicone is already hardened enough that it doesn't get diluted by the oil, or it doesn't get mixed up with the oil. So that's why we do the sump first. All right, now we have here 2 tensioners, pulley on the bottom. Let's go get the belt from the top. Okay, let's have a look at the belt. Belt is now out. Let's try to dry it up, so you can have a look here now. I don't know how good that's gonna come across. Can you see the micro crack? Can you see where it's kind of like starting to crack on the sides, and even in the middle you have some cracks? Now again, this is not like you had to fully change it. This belt will still do another 20-30,000 miles. But again, for peace of mind, when you're going to do long journeys and stuff like that, you don't want to be stuck on the side of the road because your belt is failed or because you have an oil pressure light come on. So it's always good to do this as maintenance. So, you know, this belt is good to go. Again, sometimes people ask us if we use main dealer parts. If you can read here, I don't know how good that's going to come across, but you can read there Dico. So this is a Dico belt that is used by the manufacturer. So if I go out and buy a Dico belt, it will be the exact same thing, just doesn't have the badge of the main dealer, but the quality of the part is exactly the same factory. As you can see now, it's later on in the day, the garage is pumping, we have lots of customers outside. I had to stop this shop for a while in the meantime to do some tires, services and stuff like that. So it's very hard for me to record because we are an open business, so we have to serve our customers and trying to get the cars back to them as quick as possible. Sometimes the recording or the videos are not the best or not very entailed because it's very hard to try to keep track of what you recorded or not while you also have to serve customers. It is very hot today, as you can see. I'm sweating. The days in the UK it has been super hot. But there you go. You have Peugeot 1.2 engine on a Vauxhall Grandland wet belt done. This one is good to go. The belt was not that bad of a condition, but it's always best to get it changed anyway, just for peace of mind. So this one is done and dusted. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye bye.